What's up, YouTube? JM Comics here with my first non-video game related content, Avatar, all of the Last Airbender and Legend of Korra books ranked. So let's dive right in. But first, like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. And while you're at it, comment in the comment section down below. 4 Elements, 7 Seasons, or books. Avatar The Last Airbender and its sequel series, The Legend of Korra, have both risen in popularity recently, thanks to Netflix and, of course, the worldwide pandemic. This was my first time watching both shows, and I totally enjoyed my time of each. While Avatar has a feudal Japan feeling time period, The Legend of Korra is way more modern, and as such, both shows have distinct aesthetics and plot lines. And within each show, there are multiple seasons, each with their own stories and corners of this universe. There are 4 ratings I will give out here: unbalanced, passable, incredible, and legendary in that order, each with a percentage range. So, without further ado, let's rank all of the seasons of Avatar The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. Coming in 7th place, we have Book 1 Air from The Legends of Korra. While this book definitely had a lot going for it, in the end it just felt mediocre and bland. The best aspect about this season was definitely the introduction to the main characters, like Korra, Mako, Bolin, and my man Tenzin. It also had many references back to the original show, which were great but clearly a nostalgia trap, meant for original viewers. The definitive reason that this book is so low on this list is the villain, Amon. The concept of Amon and his equalists is great and had so much potential, but in the end he was a one-off villain only meant for this season, and they killed him off. His looming threat could have been the Fire Nation's equivalent in Legend of Korra, and it felt like a natural progression for this universe. There was potential for this season, but in the end it was just okay in my opinion, and I gave it a 45%, unbalanced. At number 6, we have Book 1 Water from Avatar The Last Airbender. As made evident by these bottom 2 installments, both shows started out decently, but got marginally better over time. Avatar Book 1 is the first entry in the Avatar universe, and does an amazing job of establishing this universe and its huge cast of characters. It also introduces us to the lore of the Benders, the 100-Year War, and of course Avatar Aang. The season exceeds in the villain department with cunning villain Admiral Zhao and the introduction of Prince Zuko, one of the show's best characters. My only complaint is that Princess Yue's sacrifice didn't hit that hard, since she only appeared in the last 3 episodes before dying. While not bad, this season focused on laying the groundwork for the rest of the franchise, and succeeded at doing so. It's also worth noting that the Avatar The Last Airbender movie totally ruined my experience of this book, since it was based directly off of this. With that in mind, I gave this season a 65% passable score. In 5th place, we have Book 2 Spirits from The Legend of Korra. This season almost made 4th place, and it very well could have made top 3, at least in my opinion. Korra Book 2 not only improved on Book 1, but it also revealed a lot of important lore about the Avatar. The season's main villains, Unalaq and Vatu, were welcome additions to the mythos. Unalaq was a decent villain, kind of bland, but as Korra's uncle, he was interesting enough. However, Vatu is an amazing villain, and his combination of Unalaq to become the Dark Avatar is a genius idea, even if the execution was quite lacking. Another aspect I personally enjoyed was the relationship drama between Mako and Korra, which is kind of controversial, even though I was utterly disappointed with their breakup. The backstory of the first Avatar was just the cherry on top to make this season truly incredible in my eyes. Plus, they introduced Varric here. With that in mind, I gave this season a 70% score. Incredible. Coming in 4th place, we have Book 4 Balance from The Legend of Korra. The most recent book in the Avatar universe, Book 4 Balance was the perfect bittersweet goodbye to The Legend of Korra. Among its many accomplishments, this season brings closure to all of the relationships throughout the series, from Mako and Korra to Asami and her father to Lin and Sue. Korra's journey of self-discovery early in the season is deep, and her training of Toph reminds me of Luke and Yoda on Dagobah from Star Wars, and that's a good thing. The villain, Kivira, is super sympathetic, and while her plan isn't inherently evil, she commits a lot of heinous acts to accomplish her goals, including the murder of Mr. Hiroshi. The only complaint I have was that we didn't get much of Tenzin, but it also symbolizes how far this show has come, where it no longer needs to rely on legacy characters and nostalgia. With that in mind, I gave this a 75% review. Incredible. Coming at number 3, we have Book 3, Change, the last of the Legend of Korra books on this list. Kicking off the top 3 is Korra Book 3, Change. First off, there is literally nothing wrong with this book. It completely expands this universe and develops all of its characters. Jinora meets Kai and finally gets her air tattoos. Mako gets over his breakup with Korra. Bolin overcomes his insecurities and learns that he's a lava bender. This season is appropriately titled since it changes so many aspects of the series for the better. The introduction of the metal bending city, Lin's sister Sue, and Bolin's love interest Opal were also welcome additions. The greatest aspect is this book's villain, Zahir, which is one of the best characters to come out of this universe. Zahir and his elemental gang, the Red Lotus, aren't true villains, and even though they lose, they still leave Korra in physical and mental dismay for years to come. They may lose the battle, but they won the war. I gave this season an 80% legendary ranking. And in second place, we have Book 3, Fire, from Avatar The Last Airbender. The dramatic climax of The Last Airbender, Book 3, Fire, accomplishes all it sets out to do and more. Aang finally fulfills his destiny and takes out the Fire Lord. Katara deals with all of her trauma with her dad, Zuko, and her mother. Zuko finally joins the light and faces his destiny. The whole book is just plain epic. Many of the older characters are also brought back for the final battles, including Haru, Tio, and the Swampbenders. Almost every plotline established to date comes to a close, except for Zuko's mother, and it's all done seamlessly. The final fights, where Aang ultimately spares Fire Lord Ozai's, aka the Phoenix King's, life, and Zuko faces Azula, are the pinnacle of what the series has been building up to since episode 1. I gave this season a 90% legendary. And of course, coming in at number 1, we have Book 2 Earth from Avatar The Last Airbender. In all honesty, Book 2's story is one of the least connected of the Last Air. In all honesty, Book 2's story is one of the least connected of the Last Airbender's books, but it is definitely for the best. Every episode of this season is super entertaining, and so many pieces are subtly set up throughout, and they all pay off in what was probably the best episode of the series, the Crossroads of Destiny. Prince Zuko and Uncle Iroh's relationship gets truly tested in this season, and Team Avatar welcomes Toph into the team. The conspiracy episodes near the end are just plain perfect, and this season's main threats, Azula and Ozai's angels, are a force to be reckoned with, and by the end of this season, Azula nearly kills Aang, sending him to a coma he doesn't wake up from until season 3 months later. And ending on a low note, this season kept me hooked throughout, and brought the universe to its highest note. I gave this book 100% legendary status. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and check out my other videos.